Welcome back to my channel, Coin Collectors. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of 1-cent coins, including the wheat penny, the Indian head penny, and even rare Canadian 1-cent coins that could be worth big money bag. In this video, we'll explore the iconic designs, rich copper and steel history, and the hidden treasures behind these classic coins. We're counting down the top 4 most valuable, expensive, and ultra-rare 1-cent coins ever discovered, from wheat pennies and steel cents to Indian head pennies and collectible Canadian cents. You'll hear shocking stories from American coin history, learn about rare color shades, and discover valuable mint mark varieties from the Denver D and San Francisco S mints that collectors and investors are hunting for today. Here's the shocking truth. Even dirty, worn, or seemingly ordinary 1-cent coins could be worth thousands, or even millions, of dollars exploding at. Let's get started fast up one. In the entire history of American coins, very few pieces have created as much confusion, obsession, and wild imagination as the 1943 wheat penny, especially when it carries the bold little d mint mark beneath the date. This coin does not look like a penny. It does not feel like a penny. It does not behave like a penny. The moment someone holds it, the brain stops and asks a dangerous question. Why is this silver? And from that single question, 1,000 rumors are born, some harmless, some costly, and some powerful enough to convince people that a single coin can rewrite destiny overnight. The year 1943 was not ordinary. The world was burning. World War II was consuming metal, machines, and manpower at a terrifying speed. Copper was no longer just metal. It was ammunition, wiring, communication, survival. The United States Mint faced a problem it had never faced before. How do you continue making pennies when the metal used to make them is desperately needed for war? The solution was radical, rushed, and historic. For 1 year only, the penny was stripped of its copper skin and reborn in steel, coated with a thin layer of zinc, giving a cold silver shine that shocked the public. At the Denver Mint, marked by the letter D, millions of these steel pennies were struck and released into circulation. They clinked differently. They weighed differently. They confused vending machines. They rusted when scratched. People mistook them for dimes. Children hoarded them. Adults distrusted them. No other U.S. coin ever entered daily life with so much controversy so quickly. This was not a collector's experiment. This was a wartime emergency decision, and it left behind one of the most misunderstood coins in American history. Here is where the myth explodes. Many people today believe that any 1943 steel penny, especially one that looks dirty, dark, or old, is secretly worth millions of dollars. Videos shout it. Messages forward it. Stories exaggerate it. The phrase, "don't spend it, it can make you a billionaire overnight," spreads like fire. But reality, like steel itself, is harder than fantasy. Most 1943 D steel pennies are common, and in worn or dirty condition, they are valuable mainly as historical artifacts, not miracle tickets. But myths don't come from nowhere. They are born from truth that has been twisted. In 1943, while steel pennies were supposed to be the rule, a tiny number of copper blanks from 1942 were accidentally left inside mint machines. These blanks were struck with 1943 dies, creating something that was never supposed to exist. A 1943 copper wheat penny. Not steel, not silver-colored. Real copper. Heavy. Wrong. Illegal by accident. These coins are the real monsters of the coin world, the ones that have sold for hundreds of thousands and even millions at auction. And because of them, every steel penny lives under a shadow of impossible expectations. The 1943 D steel penny itself becomes even more confusing when time takes its toll. Zinc wears away. Steel underneath darkens. Rust creeps in. The coin begins to look dirty, uneven, and strange. People assume this decay means age equals value. In truth, heavy corrosion usually reduces value, not increases it. Collectors want survival, not destruction. A dirty steel penny is still historically fascinating, but it is not automatically rare or priceless. The market rewards condition, authenticity, and verified anomalies, not neglect. Yet there is still power in this coin. Not financial magic, but historical weight. This penny was born directly from war. It exists because the world was desperate. Every scratch is a reminder of factories running nonstop, of ration books, of letters sent overseas, of families waiting for soldiers to return. No gold coin, no modern commemorative, carries that kind of emotional gravity in such a small form. The reason people want to believe this coin can change their fortune overnight is simple. It looks different. Humans trust their eyes more than facts. A silver-colored penny breaks expectations, and broken expectations invite hope. But hope without knowledge is dangerous. Many steel pennies have been cleaned, polished, replated, or damaged by people chasing imaginary prices. Once altered, the coin loses credibility forever. In the coin world, originality is everything, and desperation destroys originality faster than time ever could. A real collector does not ask, "Can this make me rich tomorrow?" A real collector asks, "What exactly do I have, and why does it exist?" That question leads to understanding mint marks, metal composition, weight tests, magnet tests, and professional grading. It leads away from fantasy and toward truth. And the truth is far more interesting than fake million-dollar promises. So if you hold a 1943 D steel wheat penny, do not rush to sell it for nothing, and do not believe anyone who promises everything. Do not clean it harshly. Do not coat it. Do not scratch it chasing copper underneath. Respect it. Study it. Because while it will not turn every owner into a billionaire, it remains one of the most dramatic symbols of American history ever struck into metal. This coin does not have the power to magically change your fortune overnight, but it does have the power to change how you see money, history, and truth. And sometimes, understanding that difference is worth more than any price ever attached to a single cent. The 1951 wheat penny with the D mint mark sits in a strange and dangerous place between truth and legend. At first glance, it looks ordinary, brown, coppery, worn by time, the kind of coin most people wouldn't bend down to pick up. But history has a way of hiding its most powerful stories inside the most unassuming objects. And this penny is a perfect example of how myth, hope, and misunderstanding can turn a single cent into a symbol of overnight fortune. The year 1951 was a moment of tension and transition. The world had survived one great war and was nervously stepping into another kind of conflict. America was industrially strong, but cautious. The U.S. Mint was operating at full speed, striking coins not as collectibles, but as tools of daily survival. At the Denver Mint, identified by the small d below the date, millions of wheat pennies were produced using the traditional copper alloy that had defined American cents for decades. These coins were heavy with purpose, designed to circulate endlessly, never meant to be rare, never meant to be treasured. The Lincoln portrait on the front carried quiet authority, not glamour. The wheat stalks on the reverse symbolized stability, work, and patience, values that defined the era. These coins passed through grocery stores, factories, diners, schoolyards, and payphones. They lived real lives. They were scratched by keys, darkened by sweat, and dulled by time. And that where the dirt, the darkness, the rough texture, is what later generations would misunderstand in the most dramatic way possible. Over time, a dangerous belief began to spread, that dirty old wheat pennies might secretly be worth millions of dollars. The 1951 D became part of this belief not because it was ultra-rare, but because it looked old, solid, and important. People began associating age with wealth, dirt with rarity, and survival with hidden treasure. The phrase, "don't spend it, it can change your fortune overnight," started circulating, often repeated without context, without knowledge, and without truth. Here is a reality most people don't want to hear, but must. A normal 1951 D wheat penny, even in dirty or circulated condition, is not automatically worth millions. Dirt does not create value. Damage does not summon rarity. Time alone does not transform copper into gold. The majority of these coins are common, and their value lies in history and collectability, not fantasy prices. But myths survive because they are fueled by rare exceptions, and those exceptions are real. What collectors truly hunt are anomalies, not ordinary coins, but coins that should not exist the way they do. Subtle mint errors, unusual die conditions, dramatic off-center strikes, or deeply misaligned impressions. These are the coins that attract serious attention. When verified by professionals, authenticated, and preserved in original condition, such pieces can command extraordinary prices. These moments are rare, unpredictable, and impossible to guarantee, but they are the spark that keeps legends alive. The copper composition of the 1951 D penny adds to its emotional weight. Unlike modern cents, which feel hollow and disposable, this coin has density. It feels permanent. That physical presence tricks the mind into believing it must be valuable. When the surface darkens or turns uneven, people assume it has aged into wealth. In truth, collectors prefer originality, not neglect. A heavily corroded coin usually loses appeal, while a well-preserved one tells its story more clearly. Still, this penny matters deeply. It represents the closing chapter of an era. The wheat penny design would vanish only a few years later, replaced by a modern look that many believe lost the soul of American coinage. The 1951 D stands near the end of a long tradition, a bridge between old America and the new industrial future. That alone gives it historical gravity that cannot be measured in face value. The real danger lies not in the coin, but in false promises. Many people have cleaned, polished, scratched, or chemically treated wheat pennies, hoping to reveal hidden fortune. In doing so, they permanently destroyed whatever collector value the coin once had. In the numismatic world, original surfaces are sacred. Once altered, the story is broken. No miracle follows. A true collector does not chase overnight wealth. A true collector listens. They study weight, color, strike quality, and metal behavior. They understand mint marks not as magic letters, but as clues. They respect the difference between legend and evidence. And sometimes, very rarely, patience is rewarded with something genuinely special. So if you hold a 1951 D wheat penny, do not panic, and do not fall for exaggerated claims. Do not sell it blindly, and do not worship it blindly either. Preserve it, learn from it, because while it will not make everyone a billionaire overnight, it carries something far more real, a direct connection to a moment in American history when even a single cent was built to last. In the world of American coin legends, few names create instant excitement like the words Indian head penny. The phrase alone feels ancient, powerful, and mysterious, as it belongs to forgotten America where coins carried soul, weight, and authority. So when people claim to have seen or own an Indian head penny dated 1978, alarm should ring, not because it promises instant wealth, but because it challenges the very timeline of U.S. history itself. And whenever history is challenged, collectors lean in closer. Let's step into the shock slowly. The Indian head penny was not a modern coin. It belonged to a completely different America, an America of horse-drawn streets, gas lamps, handwritten letters, and raw expansion. This design lived and breathed between the mid-19th century and the early 20th century. It disappeared long before televisions, long before credit cards, and long before 1978 ever existed as a year. That single detail turns the idea of a 1978 Indian head penny into something explosive, because if such a coin were real, it would not just be valuable, it would rewrite everything we know about U.S. coinage. This is where rumors are born. People discover an old-looking copper penny, dark, worn, sometimes damaged, sometimes heavily dirty, with a strange or unclear date. The mind fills in the gaps. The shape feels right. The color feels old. The design looks unfamiliar. Suddenly, a fantasy forms. What if this is something secret? What if this was never meant to exist? And just like that, the dream of overnight fortune takes hold, powerful enough to override logic. Here is the truth, delivered with respect to the mystery. There is no official Indian head penny dated 1978, with or without a mint mark. The design was gone for nearly 70 years by then. No mint, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, struck Indian head cents in that era. That fact does not kill the story. It deepens it. Because when a coin appears to break history, collectors do not assume riches first. They assume alteration, misreading, novelty striking, or fantasy pieces created outside the U.S. Mint. Many so-called 1978 Indian head pennies turn out to be heavily worn Lincoln cents, altered dates, private novelty tokens, or modern reproductions designed to look old. Dirt and corrosion play tricks on the eye. Copper darkens unevenly. Numbers blur. A damaged 9 can resemble a 7. A shadow can invent a date that never existed. And once that illusion takes hold, Belief spreads faster than truth. This is where the myth of dirty coins worth millions becomes dangerous. Dirt does not add value. Damage does not unlock secret wealth. In the professional coin world, original condition and verified history matter more than mystery alone. A coin that looks strange but cannot be authenticated does not become priceless. It becomes a curiosity. Many people have destroyed potential collector value by cleaning, grinding, or scratching coins try to reveal imagined secrets beneath the surface. Yet the Indian head penny remains legendary for a reason. Genuine examples, struck in the 1800s and early 1900s, are among the most emotionally powerful U.S. coins ever made. The design was never truly Native American, but it symbolized how America saw itself at the time: proud, idealized, and forward-looking. Those real coins, especially rare dates and errors, can indeed be worth extraordinary sums when preserved and authenticated. That truth fuels a fire of false dates and impossible claims. The idea that a single penny can make someone a billionaire overnight is seductive because it offers escape. It suggests that fate might hide miracles in pockets and drawers. But real numismatic value does not work that way. Real wealth in coins comes from knowledge, patience, verification, and history that aligns, not history that breaks apart. If someone truly held an Indian head penny from 1978, it would not quietly sell for millions. It would be examined by museums, scholars, and the U.S. Mint itself. It would be front-page news in the collector world. Silence is the loudest evidence that such coins do not exist as official currency. So if you come across a coin claimed to be a 1978 Indian head penny, do not rush to sell cheaply, but do not believe miracle stories either. Treat it as a mystery, not a jackpot. Preserve it, compare it, have it examined by professionals. Because the real danger is not missing out on millions. It is losing truth to fantasy. And here's the final, quiet power of the story. Coins don't change your fortune overnight through magic. They change your understanding over time through history. The Indian head penny is priceless not because of imaginary modern dates, but because it reminds us that every real treasure leaves evidence, and every false one relies on belief alone. If you want, next I can write the most dramatic script ever on. The real most expensive Indian head penny. Fake versus real Indian head pennies. Or top pennies that actually sold for millions. The moment someone hears the words Indian head penny, something ancient wakes up in the mind. It feels older than banks, older than credit cards, older than modern money itself. So when a claim appears about an Indian head penny dated 1994, the shock is immediate and intoxicating. A coin that should not exist. A date that does not belong. A design pulled from another century and placed into the modern world. This is exactly how legends are born, not from truth alone, but from the collision between history and imagination. To understand why a 1994 Indian head penny feels so powerful, you have to travel backward in time. The Indian head cent belongs to an America that no longer exists. It was born in the 1800s, when coins were not just money but statements of identity. Copper was thick, heavy, and honest. Designs were slow to change, and every coin carried the fingerprints of an era built on expansion, conflict, and ambition. When the Indian head penny disappeared from production in the early 20th century, it did not fade quietly. It became a legend. Now jump forward to 1994, a world of barcodes, plastic cards, mass production, and disposable change. By that time, the Indian head design had been gone for generations. No U.S. Mint, not Philadelphia, not Denver, not San Francisco, was authorized to strike Indian head cents in 1994. That single fact transforms the idea of a 1994 Indian head penny from a treasure story into a mystery story. Because if such a coin were real, it wouldn't just be valuable, it would be impossible. This is where confusion feeds belief. People find old-looking copper coins, dark and dirty, sometimes damaged beyond recognition. Dates blur, numbers distort. A worn for can look like a 9. A shadow can invent a digit that never existed. Add corrosion, add imagination, add a rumor from a friend or a viral video, and suddenly a common coin becomes a $1 million secret. The phrase, "don't spend it," it can change your fortune overnight, spreads fast, because hope always travels faster than verification. But dirt does not create value. Darkness does not equal rarity. In the world of real collectors, damage usually destroys worth rather than creating it. A dirty coin might look ancient, but without verified origin, it remains a curiosity, not a jackpot. Many so-called 1994 Indian head pennies are altered Lincoln cents, novelty pieces, private fantasy strikes, or misread dates on heavily worn coins. None of these were struck by the U.S. Mint as legal currency. Still, the myth refuses to die because it feeds on something very human, the dream that ordinary people might be holding extraordinary fortune without knowing it. The idea that a penny in a drawer could secretly be worth millions feels like justice in a world where wealth often feels unreachable. That emotional power keeps the story alive even when facts say otherwise. The real Indian head penny earns its reputation honestly. Authentic examples from the 1800s and early 1900s, especially rare dates, errors, and exceptional conditions, can indeed reach staggering prices when verified and preserved. Those real sales are fuel that ignites fake dates and impossible claims. People hear Indian head penny sold for a fortune, and the mind fills in gaps that history never supported. If a genuine Indian head penny dated 1994 truly existed, it would not quietly circulate on the internet. It would be examined by experts, challenged by historians, and analyzed by the U.S. Mint itself. Museums would fight to display it. Books would be rewritten. Silence is the strongest proof that such a coin does not exist as official currency. That doesn't mean you should throw away a strange or old-looking coin. It means you should treat it with respect, not desperation. Do not clean it aggressively. Do not scratch it chasing imagined secrets. Preservation keeps possibilities alive. Damage kills them forever. Knowledge protects you better than rumors ever will. The real shock is not that a penny could make you a billionaire overnight. The real shock is how easily belief can overpower history. Coins do not create wealth through magic. They create meaning through truth. And the Indian head penny's true power lies not in impossible modern dates, but in the fact that it belongs to a chapter of America that can never be repeated. So if you hear someone whisper about a 1994 Indian head penny worth millions, listen carefully, not to the promise, but to the silence behind it. Because real treasure leaves evidence, and real history never needs exaggeration to be valuable. If you want, next I can write a full dramatic script on the most expensive real Indian head penny ever sold, how to tell fake Indian head pennies from real ones, or coins that truly shock the world with million-dollar prices.